No Pete, no problem. Part two, right here in this video, discussing a contingency plan surrounding a player that David Stearns and Steve Cohen should think about targeting this offseason in the event that Pete Alonso leaves if a deal can't be reached to bring him back to Queens for the rest of his career. What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CP. As always, if you enjoy the different perspective and the hypotheticals that is going to follow the Mets all off season long until we get some concrete trades and signings, make sure to smash those thumbs up buttons on this video. Subscribe to the channel for Mets off-season content all off-season long, and make sure you let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. It's anybody's guess what Pete Alonso and Scott Boras are going to do this offseason and the type of contract that they are going to command if other teams are not willing to go to that 7-year deal that Pete Alonso wants. And I don't think that the Mets and David Stearns are going to do that for Pete Alonso, just given how the negotiations played out last offseason. So I think it's pretty smart for us to continue this conversation surrounding how the Mets can stay afloat, maybe even be better off in their infield configuration and also the lineup production without Pete Alonso in a hypothetical 2026 lineup. Also, a Scott Boras client that the Mets should heavily pursue and will have a lot of interest from teams around the league, like the Red Sox, like the Tigers, and I'm sure many other teams alongside the New York Mets to bring onto and into their lineup playing third base. And yes, that name, if you couldn't already tell, is Alex Bregman. And we are going over Alex Bregman's free agency outlook, and we have the calculated market value per Spotrac right here up on our screen. Now, this is an algorithm, and I always tell people this. I throw up Spotrac's numbers because what Spotrac has here clearly is a little bit under what Bregman is actually going to make. These algorithms historically are a little bit more conservative in their approach of how they calculate upcoming free agent contract values. They have his contract value, market value right now set at 4 years, 110, just over $1 million. And you can see the annual average salary, AAV, it equates to $27.7 million. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that Alex Bregman is going to be signing a deal that is north of 4 years. He is turning 32 years old when the 2026 season starts in late March, and he's going to want to cash in just as all these players that are over 30 years old want to cash in on these long-term deals, which is the same situation that Pete Alonso is in. Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman are in similar situations, although Alex Bregman is a year older. And so I can see Bregman signing anywhere between a 5 to 6 year deal. I think anybody that also gives him or is thinking about giving him a 7 year deal is absolutely wild and crazy. And I don't think that would be a good contract in the tail end, clearly. But I think 5 to 6 years for Alex Bregman is fair given the production that he has put up in his entire career across the Red Sox, because he had a decent season last season, over 114 games, and also clearly as a Houston Astro, where he won a World Series. And so this conversation surrounding Alex Bregman is, if you are saying 1v1, head to head, Alex Bregman versus Pete Alonso, you have to choose one, and you're not going externally to try to fill in a first baseman. You're going internal with a Mark Vientos, Ryan Clifford at first base. Of course, I'm going to tell you I want Pete Alonso on my team because he is the better bat night and day over Alex Bregman. But there's a situation in a scenario, right, where you go ahead and you commit this money to Alex Bregman. Let's say that Pete Alonso is standing firm on a 6 to 7 year deal and Alex Bregman is entertaining offers for 5 years. You have flexibility at that point to go ahead and backfill first base, because Alex Bregman's not going to be playing first base for the New York Mets. I think everybody knows that. If you bring him in here, he's playing third base. You have the possibility and the flexibility, if you're David Stearns, to go out there and backfill first base externally and still not have to rely on those internal options. And we talk about replacing Pete Alonso's production offensively, and it's really hard to do that with just one player. But if you're able to acquire two external free agents to replace Pete Alonso in this lineup and kind of spread the wealth, if you would, across the lineup, I think that the Mets would be a lot better off in a 2-for-1 deal as opposed to just Pete Alonso in this lineup by himself. And we'll run some of the numbers here with the given situation that I have on the next slide. But, $27.7 million is what it is. If you go back to Alex Bregman's free agency, I guess, pursuit last year with the teams that were offering him before he signed that 3-year, $120 million deal with the opt-out with the Red Sox, because clearly he's opting out. He already said that he's going to. That's a crazy, figure right there by itself. To get him in the door last offseason, the Red Sox needed to give him $40 million a year. Now, he's not going to even be close to $40 million a year in this next contract because it's going to be a longer term deal. But the parameters of what the offer that he got from the Tigers was gives us a little bit of a better indication of what he could start off asking for. The offer that he got from the Detroit Tigers before he accepted the Red Sox deal was reportedly for 6 years, $186 million, which comes in at just around $31 million a year. Alex Bregman was also pushing for a 7-year contract worth $200 million even. And I just told you all that I definitely don't think that he is going to get that 7 years. I would be very hard pressed to think that he's going to get the 6 years too, although that's a lot more realistic than the 7. If, the Mets are able to get him down to this 5-year deal, like a 5-year deal construction, the AAV at $31 to $32 million would not make me mad whatsoever because you're going to have Pete Alonso. His market value per Spotrac is around $29 million. And the difference there is going to be about $3 million in this situation that I'm proposing. And you get Bregman for about 1 to 2 years less. And so it kind of evens out in that regard. Anyways, when we get back to the discussion of Alex Bregman and bringing him on, right? He's going to be playing third base, and therefore you'd have to move Brett Baty, presumably, who was your everyday third baseman, to the position that he showed he could hold his own at second base. And if you are telling me that you're bringing on Alex Bregman and an external option at first base via free agency, and I'll get to that here in just a second, then you have to make money work because there is a luxury tax, and Steve Cohen is willing to go, over the luxury tax and pay the extra money and penalties. But I think we all know that he doesn't want to do that consistently or at the highest threshold possible. So the Mets are going to have to make money work somehow, and there's a lot of speculation on a lot of trade candidates, in particular Kodai Senga on the pitching side of things, and Jeff McNeil. If the Mets do go the external route at third base, Jeff McNeil could be the odd man out as Brett Baty is younger and has proved that he can play second base at a competent level. So you bring Alex Bregman on in this situation to third base. Who's going to be your first baseman? Well, this also directly feeds into the video that I dropped just yesterday surrounding Kazuma Okamoto. And I'll link that video down in the description below because he is going to be posted. And I do think the Mets are going to be heavy players for Okamoto this offseason. And this infield configuration, this is the moment we've all been waiting for on this episode. This is a dream scenario. I actually tweeted something out on my account earlier today, this afternoon, saying if this is the situation that the Mets are presented in the offseason, being able to go out there and get Bregman and Okamoto, that's a big if. But if that's the scenario, because again, this is hypotheticals. We're here on October 23rd. We're not even close to the start of things ramping up this offseason. This is kind of a dream wish list, if you would. If this is the scenario, I am packing Pete Alonso's bags for him. 100%. I have full confidence in saying that because Brett Baty, you get younger at second base by pushing Jeff McNeil out of the infield, and Brett Baty's able to go there. Francisco Lindor is going to be your shortstop for the foreseeable future. I think we all know that. And then when we talk about the statistics of replacing Pete Alonso, let's say Pete Alonso on average, you think of him as a 40 plus home run guy, right? And 100 plus RBIs, and that's his production. Well, now you have Okamoto and Bregman. Okamoto is a 30 plus home run guy in Japan. He's probably going to be a 20 plus home run guy at the major league level when he comes over in 2026. And so that's your 20 home runs there. And then you have another 20 to 25 plus home run candidate and Alex Bregman giving you an equal, if not more, value of production from the home run perspective than Pete Alonso by himself is going to be able to give you. And the RBIs, I mean, that's not even a question. If you go and combine Okamoto and Bregman in this scenario, the RBIs are going to be more plentiful than what Pete Alonso can give you by himself. That is just the fact of the matter. Now, I don't have any sort of predictions or any sort of projections for what Okamoto is going to post offensively, but you also talk about the defense. You get exponentially better at each corner infield position, right? Okamoto is a really good defensive first baseman all across the board, fundamentals, everything. I imagine he can actually throw a baseball, unlike Pete Alonso, as well, competently to each base. And then Alex Bregman also at third base. We all know, defensive runs saved, outs above average, what he's posted in his career at third base. He is a very competent glove over there. The arm strength isn't that great with Alex Bregman, but it's better than Brett Baty, and that's where you win if you move Brett Baty over and stick Bregman at third base. But the range is a lot better than Brett Baty's as well over there. So this infield is a dream scenario for the 2026 New York Mets. And I will say this one more time because I know people are going to comment, this is such a hypothetical. There's no way this happens. Never say never. Never say never. I think and I hope that David Stearns and Steve Cohen understand the gravity of the situation the Mets are presented with right now going into the Pete Alonso contract talks, right? And following up a 2025 season that was a failed season. If the reports are true and the Mets really do have a pissed off owner in Steve Cohen, I would expect this to be more than realistic money wise. It's all about offering up the money to Bregman and also persuading Okamoto to come to the New York Mets instead of any other team, in particular the West Coast, that a lot of people think that he's going to go to, although there are no reports of that solidified either. So, Mets fans, let me know what you think about this situation. Okamoto and Bregman is my dream scenario in the event that Pete Alonso leaves. I think both of these guys in your lineup combined give you a better shot consistently than if Pete Alonso's here by himself. But if the Mets do strike a deal with Pete Alonso, I'm still not going to be mad. Options are what the Mets have, and that is the message here with this video. So as always, until next time, Mets fans, smash those thumbs up buttons, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts and opinions until next video, the next video on this channel. I appreciate it, and let's go Mets.